This episode of Meet Your Neighbor is brought to you by Duncan Multimedia, serving the web development and computer-related needs of corporations, civic, and nonprofit organizations, large and small.
My husband and I joke all the time because we did not choose innkeeping. Innkeeping really chose us, but couch surfing was our inspiration. We used to host guests in Dallas all the time. Anytime we traveled, we used it. This is how we really grew the love of hosting and entertaining. And so we're really lucky because here we can really connect and talk about deep things and have really interesting conversations, especially over breakfast. But just learning people's stories, learning why they're here, learning what they've gone through. I'm constantly inspired by it. I took a 5-month backpacking trip to South America and Europe, and I actually had an 8-month backpacking trip planned, but I cut it short. It was really exhausting. I was couch surfing the whole way, and you're meeting a lot of people. It gets really intense. The buses weren't running for another hour, and in Rio, if you're in a bad area, you don't stick around. You leave. In fact, when everyone was exiting, everyone was literally dashing to the next place. A drunk cab driver come over, and it was probably one of the scariest moments of my life because people were being robbed around me. It was awful, but this is one of those moments where I saw the true kindness and gentleness in human nature. He did take us home for free, and he didn't have any other plans for us, and we got home safe. While I was in my backpacking travels, I was seeing signs to go home. I was seeing literal signs and graffiti. Home just kept coming up, and it really started making me nervous. A part of me knew that I probably should go home because I had the most amazing thing waiting for me, my husband, who is my husband now. So I had all these signs, and I remember feeling so overwhelmed after the last thing was I ran across some travelers, and they said something about home. The whole conversation was geared towards that, and I called my mom, Janet, and I remember bawling. Actually, I was kind of screaming hysterically on the phone because I was so upset with myself. I wanted to continue on, but it was almost like I had a brick wall, and I felt like if I kept going, I was just going to keep hitting this wall. And so I probably would have never given much thought to it other than I learned a lot. I knew I missed out on a lot, but I did learn a lot. But that my best friend and I were in Guatemala the next year, which I would have been traveling. In fact, I would have been in Asia at that point. On the news was the tsunami that had hit Japan. And I remember feeling this feeling. I've never felt this feeling ever again. I don't know if I will. But it was almost like everything in my body dropped to like the pit of my stomach. And I realized that I was supposed to be up north in the northern part of Japan farming at the very time the tsunami hit. Instead, I was in Guatemala with Myrna. That was a really profound moment in my life because I think I kind of pieced together, you'll probably think I'm crazy, that I think I escaped death or I escaped real bad danger from leaving on my trip early. And so that substantiates enough for me. So